May I interest you in a delectable elixir, transparent and fluid in essence, sourced from nature to be found from the Alpines of the Swiss to the oasis to be spotted in the Sahara, for which in the colonies is highly revered as a source of life, veritably so I may add, as all but a tiny drop revitalizes the corporeal vessel. Life renewed within, encased in a small rounded container, fashioned from a material forged from the sands of Sardinia, soda ash from the deepest pits of Turkey, limestone delicately carved out from the shallow waters of the Caribbean, and scorched to such a high extent that symphony takes place in the molecular level to bring about such an astounding creation right at the comfort of your fingertips. So basically a glass of water, right? Yes, sir, a glass of water. Yeah, place it here on the side, please. Monsieur, that would be for €3, please. You're telling me that this is €3? Certainly so, sir. Shall I repeat it for you? You know what? Yeah, just leave it here on the table. On one afternoon, I was scrolling through Instagram, checking out memes and funny reels. Like this one.
バカじゃないの? 私は甘いです。好きじゃない。でも、大体。Hey, I got a Glock in my Rari. Hey, 17 shots, no 38. Hey, I got a Glock in my Rari. 17 shots, no 38.
Oh, you think it's corny? Oh, wait. Let me check this. Here, how about another one?
Oh, what happens if I put the fork in the microwave? I heard it's like a nice experiment, you know?
Anyway, while I was scrolling through Instagram, a Discord notif popped up, and I didn't have anything to do at the time, so I was like, you know what? Let's do it. And then suddenly, I was greeted by a familiar and sweet voice. It was my friend inviting me to attend an orchestra. An orchestra concert? I've never been to one before. And besides, the only one I am familiar with is the ones I see on TV. Like this one. Oh, wait, wrong one. Guys, switch it up. There, that one. And so I was hyped because, damn bro, I get to watch my friend play, and I also get to experience the orchestra for the first time, baby. And so with that offer, I gave her my stamp of approval, so there it was. A few days later, another student invited me to watch the event, and of course I'm already signed on to it. So she proceeded to send some of the details and stuff, and of course I was stoked, right? I then started to check the pricing details, and when I saw the price, my head just dropped, and I said, hell nah, 500 pesos? All my previous spending purchases zoomed in my head, and I knew I couldn't go, because I couldn't pay for the ticket myself. So the next best option was to ask my parents to pay for our tickets, because my parents could be in the highest or lowest in their financial situations. Wait, that sounded wrong. Let me say that again. Financial situations. Wait, let me just...
Situation.
My parents could be in the highest or lowest in their financial situations, and they'd still provide for what we need. So I asked my mom if we could go, and she was like, do you even have money to pay? And in my head I was like, that's why I'm asking, Mom, so you could, you know. And so yeah, that went as well as I expected it to be, because eventually she agreed. But I also had to ask my dad if we could go, because he's the one who could pay for the tickets for all of us. But then, my friend came in clutch by offering us free tickets to attend her orchestra. Ah yes, she's such a lifesaver. And so it begins. The event was on July 14, a Sunday at 3 p.m. in this university theater here in the Philippines. Won't tell which. So we went there to the orchestra all composed and dignified, but our brains were going wild with excitement for the event. My brother and my grandma went inside the theater and I was outside, vibing and stuff, chilling. But then I realized it's almost 3 p.m. So I go to our seats and then, surprise, surprise, my friend's dad was there to greet me. But I didn't immediately recognize him. So my head was lagging quite a bit if whether or not I was gonna do a mano po or a hug. But he was also confused on what to do, so he went for the triple double, giving me the mano po, a hug, and then he stood up to shake my hand like, wow, the most respectful and kindest dad ever attends her wonderful daughter's event, while me, the weird teen with a face chock full of pimples, fumbles a simple greeting. To add to that, my friend's mom also showed up in true supportive parent fashion. And of course, my soul fell to its feet as her gracious generosity knocked any indecency from a teenager like me, like rain washing away at birth. Alas, the world is too gracious for me. Take me away! So the lights shut off and there it begins. The magic happens. What happened next blew my uncultured musician wannabe head away. What I expected was a group of students performing to their best, with some mistakes in between, with me reading a book to stop any sign of boredom in the middle of the performance. Instead, what I got was a grand melodic symphony of well-curated pieces, with standout performances placed back-to-back like a 1-2 uppercut combo on top of a Tyson hook straight double uppercut special, resembling that of a classic literary plot. Even the smallest kid was a master of their own craft, the maestro, his own beast, rocking a guitar, heralding his own level of mastery over the art. My dad was floored, my grandma delighted, and me and my brother in a frenetic haze to witness such spectacles dramatically molding our brains, with each performance increasing our IQs tenfold. But let's not forget my friend, he shines on her own like a butterfly coming out of its cocoon like a metamorphosis. But in the face of an ensemble, she waves so eloquently in the tone of harmony, like reeds swaying on a windy day. The whole performance was contained so well in a fragile capsule so old, even my grandmother graduated high school in the very same theater they were performing, with its slight ranges of static and auditory noise, combining that with the chatter of audiences, resulting in such an ecstatic first in a line of many experiences my life will take one day. Maria, judging from the performance I witnessed that day, what was your thought process as you performed each song?
I would say that the thought process varies depending on the song and my role in the performance. When I'm an assisting soloist, I try to balance the active feeling and evoking the emotions of the piece while making sure that I'm playing the notes right so as not to ruin anyone's solo. When we're playing an old song everyone's comfortable with and have a lot of good childhood memories attached to it, most, if not all of us, shift our focus to enjoying the moment, and it becomes one of the few times we smile throughout those 3 hours of the concert. And don't get me wrong, we love what we do. Deep down we're bursting with joy, but when a song is a bit more advanced or meant to stretch our skill set, pushing us forward, our focus throughout the performance then shifts to focusing on doing it well and playing it right, which sometimes, unfortunately, limits my expression of emotions and passion for the song, but that's okay.
Yeah, so it's more so of a team player in that regard. And if you can't keep a straight face, then it's more so because you enjoy the song itself, the composition. It's easier, then of course you enjoy more. So I do get that, especially in those classical pieces in the second act where everything is escalated to 11 and everything is bombastic, everything is professional. I do feel that mental stretch going on forward, and then it calms down quite a bit to the third act, which does help with relieving the stress. I agree. If you could add one more song to the breathtaking performance yesterday with classics such as The Seasons, The Queen of Sheba, Ode to Joy, and your very own performance of Lover by Taylor Swift, what would it be?
If I could, I would have loved it if we got to play Huling Bimbo, a song by the Eraserheads. It's such a lovely song that perfectly depicts life in full circle, at least in my perspective.
I 100% agree, Maria. Ang Huling Bimbo, the play, the song, the band itself, everything is perfect, everything is wonderful. So if we were to see it being adapted into an orchestra of sorts, something like that, to that scale, to that degree, it would be amazing. Especially with the violin doing the solos, doing the rounds after the verses and the chorus itself. It would be spectacular. For my final question, Maria, what does it mean for you to be able to perform compositions that resonate with people?
For me, it means everything and nothing. It's everything because the privilege of being able to take part in human connection through art is something I really treasure and work hard for, I guess. And to be able to share a stage with my fellow orchestra members is incredible. There's a bond that's unseen yet told through our music. All the practice, the tears, the frustration, and words of encouragement shared in the preceding days and backstage. And at the same time, it can mean nothing. It means nothing. Because sometimes when we play certain pieces, it's not me anymore or my ego. It's just the music, and I completely disappear. Or I become a part of it. A piece to the puzzle in that sense.
There does seem an apparent level of cog in the machine mindset that will be embodied throughout your journey, because when you're in that level of prestige, that level of culture, of course you're inclined to follow the rules set for you. But when you're out there expressing the new, the bold, that means you can experience more, have more emotions, and with your friends, that is. I have nothing else to say except for that. So amazing. Thank you very much. And yeah, with all that said, I thank you for your answers, your beautiful answers. And I hope to be in your next performance. I'm eager for that. And I'm sure it's going to be amazing and great. From Bach to Beethoven, Vivaldi to Taylor Swift, to Filipino songs and the gosh darn Mary Had a Little Lamb nursery rhyme, everything was performed, and each one of them was done so well you knew that it took them months to learn each one to the best of their abilities. And you'd think such an attainment of perfection will come with a lack of heart? Then think again, because the first set feels like a person reminiscing on their golden childhood, frolicking around in a meadow, and the second set a celebration of 700 years worth of classical mastery, while the third set feels like what an adventurer going back to his hometown experience, a bittersweet longing for the culture he once left in place of adventure. And if that is all that it takes to make a first time an emotionally charged one for such an imbecile like me, then so be it. And they did so extravagantly well. 10 out of 10, would definitely recommend it for album listeners like me, or if you're in love with music in general. Not for brain-rotted kids though. Shabalabawee! Shabalabawoo!